Welcome to Junior and Junior, live here from Superior, Wisconsin. I am your host, Jared Runny Jr., joined by my best friend, as always.
Dale Summerfield Jr.
And Dale's got to get to a chiropractor appointment, so let's get this going on the road. Um, let's talk about somebody who might need to be a little adjusted, the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies snap a rough streak, look to right the ship as the season continues. Last time we talked, the Phillies were coming off being swept by the Dodgers and in the midst of a 4-game losing streak. Well, you know what they say, things need to get worse before they can get better, and that rung true here. The Phillies dropped the first two of a 3-gamer with the Red Sox by finals of 3-5 and 4-7. It was at this point I was questioning, why the hell am I going to see this team in Philadelphia for the first time this season in August? Well, maybe the Phillies heard me and said, "Let's show them why," because they came out. They came out in the series closer, nabbing themselves a nice 6-1 victory before starting a 2-gamer with interleague rival Toronto. For once, I can say it: the Phillies complete a sweep, a 2-game sweep, but a sweep. A nice change of pace after the 6-game losing streak. The Phillies grab a nice 8-4 Tuesday night before completing the sweep with some walk-off magic Wednesday 2-1 in 10 after JT Muto tied it up in the bottom of 9. No one said it was easy, but sometimes hard work pays off, and it did for the Phillies. The Phillies currently sit at 18-19, tied for third with the Mets and a half a game back of second, but 7 back of the Braves in first. They got some West Coast balling in Denver and the Bay before we talk next, so hopefully these go well, and we'll be talking about the second place Phils this time next week. All right, Philly. Your name's not Philly. All right, Dale, tell us about the Brewers.
Yeah, that's another team that needs a back adjustment right now. An adjustment. Yeah, basically, I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I'm a little disappointed. They're 2-8 in the last 10 games. They won one game against the Dodgers, one game against the Giants. I thought things were looking up, and then they end up losing back to back against the Dodgers. But before that series, they had lost 7 straight games, dating back to their series beginner with Colorado. Got swept by Colorado, lost the first two. Well, no, I lied. 6 games. They then end up losing the first 3 to San Francisco until finally taking the finale. Finally win one. They win a second one, and then they lose 2 more to the Dodgers. So they're 2-8 in their last 10. But ironically, I'm super surprised they are only a half game out from the division lead. The Pirates are 1-9 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, we were talking those fuckers up last week, and they said, "Oh, we can't have that."
Yeah,
1-9
Pirates
next
are
year.
sitting at 21-17, and the Brewers at 20-17. So that's where Milwaukee sings. They're lucky. They got lucky.
Yeah, uh, rough patch there for the Pirates. Maybe
Yeah.
we talked them up a little too soon.
Yeah, I think we hyped them up really too soon here.
Yeah. Leave it to the NL Central to come down to earth.
Well, 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 that's what all the critics say is the worst division in baseball. Seems like every year.
It's the two Centrals. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always those Midwestern teams. I wonder why. It's because we don't ever have enough money.
Yeah. 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 Well, should we talk about another Midwest team?
Yeah, why not?
The Twinkies, who slipped up but maintained first place?
Yeah?
Twins had a 3-game series with the Guardians after salvaging one from the White Sox Thursday afternoon, 7-3. We were talking about that. Could not get swept by the White Sox. They said, "We understand, 7-3 victory. Calm down. Now we go play the Guardians." Friday night on Apple TV, they kept the winning ways going off a Max Kepler 2-run home run as they took the first game 2-0. It was down from there. The Guardians took the next two, winning the series 3-4 and 0-2. Then it was home for San Diego, and a boy, for the first time this year, I must say, Joe Ryan is a loser as he was handed his first loss of the season in a 1-6 Padres win. Twins bounced back last night 4-3 in extras and now look to win the series this afternoon as Bailey Ober battles Yu Darvish. Big Yu Darvish guys here. One of us may own a Chicago Cubs Yu Darvish jersey.
And one of you pretty soon may own a Texas Rangers Yu Darvish bobblehead.
There we go. The 20-17 Twins, as mentioned, still lead the Central. Only change is it's by 2.5 over the Tigers, opposed to the Guardians. Makes this weekend series with the Cubs very important if the Tigers keep a rolling. With that, I think that the Twins are continuing to be the best team that we talk about week to week. We'll see how long that lasts. But for right now, they're the only team in first place, and for some reason, they're the only team that I don't know, that can ever really seem to put the foot on the throat when the opportunity presents itself. But they also can shit the bed like they did against the White Sox last week.
Yeah.
Or like they did against Guardians this weekend.
Uh-huh.
We'll see Twins and Brewers both on Apple TV tomorrow night. If people want to watch them, they have Apple TV. That is an option. Brewers versus the Royals, am I correct?
Yes, you are correct. Against the second worst team in baseball.
Yeah.
Sorry, Royals fans.
We'll see when we talk about that next week. Dale might have to apologize to Royal fans for their stomping of the Brewers.
Hey, they might stomp us. I'm not denying that.
Yeah. And then the Twins and Cubs, as I mentioned. So if anyone wants to check those teams out, you have Apple TV. There's no what's it called? No blackout because it's on Apple TV for everybody. So it's an option. If you have MLB TV, I know MLB was giving 2 free months of Apple TV, so people can take advantage of that. I know I'm rolling on that right now.
But what I recommend with Apple TV, though, is mute the announcers. And if you live in Minnesota or Wisconsin, just turn on your radio station while watching the game on your phone. So you get that feel of your actual announcers, because the Apple TV announcers.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, really, with Apple TV, I'm not a big fan of that. We really haven't had to address this year. We could have. The Phillies were on Apple TV, I know, with the World Series rematch against the Astros. But last year, folks maybe remember Apple TV for Friday Night Baseball was free. You didn't have to have an Apple TV subscription. You could watch the baseball games live, and then if you wanted to watch them after the fact, you needed a subscription. Well, they did away with that this year. They're making us pay for Apple TV to watch baseball, and frankly, I think it's a crock of shit. I should not have to pay for Apple TV and Peacock and all these other things. I'm fine with ESPN. ESPN, okay, that's what it is. That's a TV channel. I'm fine with Fox. All this TV channel stuff. But we should not have to pay $10 extra to watch our team play maybe once. I'm not paying Apple TV money to watch the Phillies play once or something. It's a real crock of shit. That's what I'm saying, folks. And with that, I think we go to an ad break, Dale. I think that we need to stop the ranting and raving about Apple TV, and we go to an ad break so we can come back and close the show out. This show might not even be 30 minutes. Oh, nope. Wow. All right, ad break, folks. You folks ever wanted to own a piece of the Phil's Nation collection? Well, it's available. Head over to tpublic.com/Dogs Maniac. You can pick up any of the Phil's Nation designs currently available in 3 states, the Minnesota chapter, the West Virginia chapter, and, of course, the home of the Fightin' Phils, Pennsylvania. We're back, folks. It's time to talk our album review for the week. Um, let's just introduce this. Let's get a rolling, a going, a roly poly going. Today on Junior and Junior, we cover the newest album, The Dark Tower, from the Swiss metal band The Burning Witches. This is their fifth album, following up on 4 critically acclaimed albums. Was this album much of the same, or did the Witches finally stumble? It's time to find out. Dale, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I'm not a huge Burning Witches fan, but
What?
what are you saying over there?
Oh, I said fucking loser.
Yeah, whatever, right? But no, overall, when I listened to this song, I was actually impressed. Like, this ain't usually my type of jam, the Burning Witches, but overall, I really like the album. I started adding a bunch of these songs to my Spotify already last night. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. There wasn't, I mean, I really didn't have a favorite nor a least favorite. It's kind of like here and there, like here's a couple good ones, here's a couple bad ones. Like, can't really decide what one's the least of all of them or the best of all of them. All I know is I enjoyed this one more than I enjoyed the other one.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, good album. Good album. All right, fair, fair. He likes it more than The Witch of the North.
uh-huh.
Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion. But listen, not much has changed since we reviewed their fourth album, Witch of the North. I still love the Witches. I think they're an amazing all-female group that knows what they like, and I would still say they can become a tad bit repetitive if you don't like what they're laying down, but I do. So no complaints here. I might even said that exact line in the Witch of the North review. This album is more of that heavy, harsh sound out of vocalist Laura Goulmond. I talked about that last time. I feel like I may have said this back then too, but Goulmond is one of my favorite vocalists today, male or female. She's incredible, and she touches those levels a band like the Burning Witches needs without going into death metal territory. She's got that harsh voice, as I put it, but it's not scream metal. It's not death metal. It's just heavy, hard, fucking rockin' metal. That's the best way to put it. I'd also like to mention special guest Courtney Cox on guitar, and no, not that Courtney Cox, not Courtney Cox from Scream or from Friends or whatever else you want to say. Instead, we're talking about Iron Maiden's guitarist Courtney Cox, who is currently stepping in for the Witches, while one half of their shredding duo, Larissa, steps aside during her pregnancy. Obviously, all the best to her. She rocks, and we can't wait to have her back, but Cox is definitely an acceptable replacement for the time being while she focuses on motherhood. I didn't know what I thought about the announcement, but then once I heard her, I was like, yeah, this works. She fits right in. Obviously, somebody in a band like the Iron Maidens, that it's just, yeah, that's gonna go. That's gonna fit right into what the Burning Witches have going. So now let's talk about some songs on the album. No more pumping air in the tires of these members of the band. Let's actually talk the album. First listen, honestly, I wasn't too sure what I thought. I didn't know what was worth mentioning. But after a few re-listens, I'm having a tough time here deciding what's the best of this whole thing. First, love the Ozzy cover with Shot in the Dark. As soon as I saw it on the track listing, I knew it would rock, and of course it did. I feel like this band could do covers of Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne stuff like that. I think that their sound fits so well, and it worked. Shot in the Dark is a great song. I think that they did it so much justice with their cover. Let's talk more of their work though. Renegade. I thought that was a top tier track, And the title track, The Dark Tower, was my overall favorite. That was the first single released. I've listened to it a ton since it came out. I thought if the album's anything like this, it's gonna work, it's gonna rock, and it ended up working out. My least favorite was Tomorrow. But let's get back to the positives. I don't want to dwell on the negatives, the least favorites. I thought this album was slightly a step down from The Witch of the North, which I gave an adjusted 8. Back then it was probably a 4 out of 5, which adjusts out to an 8. Doing a little adjusting with the out of 5s from the early days. But I also think this is an 8 out of 10. So clearly I don't think that margin is too wide. And for all I know, I might even have this ranked above The Witch of the North if I ever talk about it on the Future Music Show, which is coming soon. Just a few kinks to work out there. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I mean, I'm just going to close this out by asking the Witches to please return to Minnesota in 2024 or 2025, because you got to shoot your shot. You miss 100% of shots you don't take. Dale, I'll let you introduce what's going to be on the show next week, because if it crashes and fails, I want everyone to know it was you.
Yeah.
And if it succeeds, I want everyone to know it was you.
Yeah. So it's going to be Bailey Zimmerman. He's going to release his new album religiously. He's going to release that tonight at about 11:59 midnight. It should come out May 12th. So that's what we're going to be reviewing next week. We would have reviewed it today if it would have came out today, maybe. I don't know. But we wouldn't have had time to listen to it in time. But no, that's what's on the agenda for next week is Bailey Zimmerman, Religiously, the album. I'm personally a fan of this. I know this is kind of out of Jared's expertise a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to spread some of that country music to Jared.
Hey, I listen to plenty of country music, Dale. I just don't listen to some. I listen to some country music artists. I listen to Taylor Swift, for crying out loud. Her first 4 albums are country.
Yeah, but she's no longer considered country. She's a pop star.
Okay, that doesn't... Listen, this is something I gotta take up a spot of stats. Spot of stats, if you look at Taylor Swift, is only categorized as pop. So if I listen to a song off her debut album, which is fucking country through and through, it's a pop song.
I guess so.
Spot of Stats needs to update that, because I was thinking, what kind of country do I listen to? And I'm looking, and Taylor Swift wasn't on there, and I'm like, bullshit. I listened to her outside of her pop stuff, so that's not true. And then I look at her profile, and she's only pop. Spot of Stats, please update that, because if an artist is multiple genres, they should have multiple genres.
Spot of Stats is so, like, uneven. Like, I hadn't listened to a artist in like a year and a half, almost 2 years. They're still all-time ranked top 3 for me. I'm like,
you should get Spot of Stats Plus. I mean, it's only like $2 to $5 for forever. And like once you have Spot of Stats Plus, it's such a step up. It makes it so much easier for them to get things correct, because when they have to go on the machine learning, I don't know what exactly that is. But I've noticed my data is so much more accurate with Spot of Stats Plus, and somebody like in the Spot of Stats, or the Stats FM, I guess it's called now, subreddit said something like, what is your one con, or is there any cons you would say to upgrading to Plus? And pretty much everyone said the exact same thing, and this is what I'd say. The only con is that you find yourself checking the app so much more, because you have such in-depth detail on all of what you're listening to, and it's so much easier to keep track of your music listening, so you almost get sucked into it, and you want to check and be like, oh, I listened to this artist this much today, but like that's the only con I give to it, and it's so cheap for all time. Like,
well, all time, did you say it was $2?
$2 to $5.
Because it says lifetime, it's $19.99.
You might not have the right Spot of Stats then. Because I know I did see people People were saying that it was some apps that pretend to be it are $50. Some are 20. It might be $20 right now.
Is it stats.fm and
Yeah, and then
then
Spot stats.
parentheses? Yeah,
Huh.
this
Well,
one.
maybe it is $20 right now, but we'll have to talk to them about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I already have Stats FM. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll figure that out. They'll drop their price. They say their price moves around too. So,
So just wait for the right opening, man.
yeah, I mean, if you see it drop down into like a. But like even. Well, $20 is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Granted, if you listen to music, it makes up for itself quick. But.
Well,
Still
and
a
I
lot.
find it funny because like they put Sticks at number 20, and I listen to Sticks way more than I do. So it shouldn't be at 20. It should be in like the top 15.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've noticed a big increase in accuracy in production, but we can talk about that off the air. I would rather
Yeah.
let the folks go. I've been Jared. He's been
And
Dale.
I've been Dale.
He's been Dale. We are Junior and Junior, and we will see you guys back here next Thursday, same time, same old time, 8:30 AM Central Standard Time. Peace.